Okay, day 84, part 3. This is a particularly interesting LLC here, this Codex, and we're going to come back to it. But there's another one that Glenn uses at Fusion GPS called Bean LLC. And I was always wondering about that when I first saw the legal documents, and I thought, is that Terry Bean, Mr. Top DNC donor that goes to the hoity-toity parties with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and all the other stars, self-congratulation? And just looking into Bean LLC now a little bit more. Now I started looking over here and said, well, what if these were different places to mail stuff to? Okay, let's say I had operations in Oak Ridge, Tennessee for truckers. I had operations near the uranium mines. Let's say I had operations near where the truckers were getting paid. In France for the European operations, and let's say I was recruiting in Estonia. Just a hypothetical, okay? So really it's kind of like the Old West. The miners are always getting in trouble. They're always getting drunk when they get their check, and they're, spending their money on bad stuff, and they're always getting in trouble. Now, if it was me, I would put these close to police stations and just make sure that, well, first of all, I'd make the police department here do the recruiting of the Chechens, because they're going to know who the criminals are. The criminals are the easiest ones to compromise to get them to do your stuff. Same way here in France, same way here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. We'll see if that turns out to be true or not. We're going to quickly go to the Twitter report, and I'm going to say, first here, Giant, of all places. This is where Laura Hendricks, I believe, or Laura Everly worked when she first came here. It's where she first met her husband, I think, Charles Freitag. Was at a Giant. Well, they guess who has the halal distributorship for Giant? Well, it's going to be these folks down here. They're going to have, I believe it's going to be a Gulan associated company. Now, moving quickly along here, I feel bad for Nellie Orr, because I feel like, she's working over there at CIA. It's called Open Sources. She's kind of like me. She's an analyst more than anything. She's not doing anything wrong. She's just a great Russia analyst. She's a great Russia analyst. That's all there is to it. And here Brennan says, get out of here. We're not going to have you talking to these guys going after the president. You got to go over to Fusion GPS. We're going to send you over there. Okay, great. Nellie goes over there. She's got to get a radio, the whole shooting match. It appears that this use of Fusion GPS to get FISA started, to get something started back in March and April. Now, is this Manafort? Is this Flynn? Kind of looks like it, because Flynn starts right around this March time frame, and so does Manafort, starts a little bit later. Is this Flynn? Is this Manafort? Well, those two indictments did come down. Were Fusion GPS dossiers done on them as well? That's the question. We don't know. So we'll keep moving forward here. I want to say congratulations, I think, to everyone here listening to the channel. I think we are part of this, pushing and giving visibility to Josh Myers. Obviously, a lot of people around the world are helping him with this promote this Operation Cassandra. The DOJ has reopened the case, and all these agents, I encourage you to come forward. Go to alternate channels like One America Network or other ones like Jason's, and tell your story. I think that's going to be a great story as it keeps developing. And I talked to the guy up in New York, Maltz, and I gave him, I pointed him in the direction of Jason's way, hopefully. Maltz, Derek Maltz, the guy was one of the DEA Special Operations Chiefs, will do an interview there, and you'll really see how this thing was killed. And you're going to find out it was killed by Preet Bharara. So I'm going to just make that prediction right now. Now, I said I would come back to Codex, and we had that transportation problem. In Miami Business School, the first problem you have is the transportation problem in every class. So it's a big trucking, I don't know, we're close to Procter & Gamble. First problem you always get in systems analysis class is transportation. And you got a problem. You're bringing in all these Chechens who slit people's throats, and now you're going to try to make nice, upstanding citizens out of them. Well, first of all, you got to be able to do their paperwork for them. So you're going to have licensing. So it turns out this Codex uses Business Filings International for that. And if you go down and you drill down on Business Filings International, and you look at the URLs here, and I'll post this, you're going to see that there's very close to all the, I think 49 different state capitals. You're going to see them in 49 different state capitals. And then anyway, we're playing that shell game, LLC to LLC to LLC, and it ends up here at Wolters Kluwer. Now, Wolters Kluwer is interesting. Well, first of all, let's just take one of those addresses. One of those addresses is 4400 Easton Commons. Okay, right here in Columbus. Now I'll just show everybody that I stay at all these extended stays because I think these extended stays are kind of the landing ground for these rat lines. And I go there and I stay there and I realize it's not necessarily the smartest move, but it is up close and personal. And here's down here is 4400 Eastern Comets. And I don't know if the DEA is in there, or I don't know if Liquor Control, Ohio Liquor Control is in there, or Ohio Department of Transportation. But you're going to have to send licenses. You're going to have to send a commercial driver's license. You're going to have to send the taxes. You're going to have to send the registrations. You can't just drive through somebody's state with alcohol and not register. I don't believe. You don't keep up on that stuff, they can stop you and they pull you over. Okay? So that's my theory there. But I'm going to just push out one of the Wolters Kluwer's locations here, which is in Frederick. You remember Frederick. We went to Frederick. We went down to Francis Scott Key Mall and we saw those boats going up and down that little canal and so forth. Well, and we went out to Dragon Distillery with Mark Lambert. And we know about all of transportation logistics, and we know about all of his companies and so forth. Is Wolters Kluwer his lawyer? Again, he might be totally not knowing who his truckers are. The trucking network, it could be downstream, it could be a whole bunch of guys from Navy intelligence that are just using Mark Lambert here as because, I don't know, he made one of them mad one day in college, and he could be the victim here of this downstream network. And we don't really know. We do know that there are two other people involved that all the Uranium One conspirators are involved with, and that is these different CEOs that were pushed out of that same company of Transport Logistics. And that's with Andy McCabe, obviously Rosenstein, Comey, and Mueller. Okay.